The Judicial Services Commission interviews continue for a third day today with candidates for High Court vacancies in the hot seat. The JSC last night wrapped up recommendations for the Judge President of the Mpumalanga Division and a vacancy in the Northern Cape. Today, they'll interview candidates for the Eastern Cape, Limpopo and the North West. Newzroom Afrika's Govan Whittles is at the interviews and joins us now. Govan, good morning to you. Let's perhaps take a step back to what happened yesterday. What was the outcome of yesterday? And why did it all take so long?
Well, the interviews went late into the night yesterday. They were really detailed. And at one point, one of the interviews took 2.5 hours. That obviously pushed things back a little bit. And they wrapped up closer to 10 p.m. Last night. And yesterday, we saw intense questioning of the judges applying for the vacancies. You would have seen some of the commentary from the Competition Appeals Court recommendations. There, the JSC recommending Judge Nuku from the Western Cape High Court. And then some of the interviews that went on into the evening were for the appointment of the Judge President of the Mpumalanga High Court Division and then one vacancy in the Northern Cape. Today we'll get stuck into more appointments in the High Courts, but let's discuss some of the outcomes yesterday with Mbegazeli Benjamin. He's from Judges Matter, joins us now. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Benjamin. Let's begin with the recommendations for the Judge President of the Mpumalanga High Court Division. What was the outcome there and how did it go?
So the JSC recommended Judge Sekhupuchi Mphahlele, who is the current Deputy Judge President of the Mpumalanga High Court. So she'll be taking over the reins from the recently retired Judge President. And the JSC spent quite a while deliberating over the interviews of the two candidates. The other candidate was Judge Brian Mashile. And the significant part about this appointment is that Judge Mphahlele will only be the second head of court in the court system. She'll be the first woman Judge President of the Mpumalanga High Court, and she's already mentioned that her vision is to make justice more accessible by introducing mobile courts in the province, which, as you know, is very vast. So really exciting appointment and really exciting interviews.
Yesterday we saw some controversy in the initial interviews. Anything controversial during her interview?
Well, there were a few sticky points that came out during the interview, one of which is that the lawsuit that was filed against her, but as I understand it, it was withdrawn, and there were a few questions that were put to her about her judgments. The Commission seemed very concerned about her lack of reported judgments, which I think is a mark of excellence, but she did well to assure the JSC that she has written some important judgments which have attracted academic commentary, which is also important.
Because briefly, we also had a media briefing by the JSC yesterday where they answered on a number of topical issues which had been raised in the public domain. Which were the most important issues, you believe?
So the two important issues was to finally get confirmation on the criteria for judicial selection and appointment, which is something that has been pending for a number of years. The second one is that the JSC committed itself to developing a policy on dealing with sexual harassment complaints. And the third, I think, most important aspect was the JSC acknowledging that they haven't been able to attract good candidates, and they will do more going forward to attract candidates for the Constitutional Court and other courts.
Thank you so much. And Mbegazeli Benjamin from Judges Matter speaking to us ahead of the start of those interviews. They're about to get underway. And of course, part of that answer from the JSC regarding the candidates is that the Chief Justice or the Judge Presidents in the different divisions would encourage candidates to apply for the vacancies. Today, they're scheduled to interview at least 5 candidates for the different vacancies in the different courts. And we'll bring you some of the latest insights from the JSC interviews here in Sandton, Johannesburg.
Govan Whittles, we leave it there for now, as of course we will throughout the course of the morning be dipping in and out of those interviews to give you a sense of how it's all panning out.